Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Dakota, the place where we crack open the latest financial reports and find out what companies are really up to. Today we're diving into Celanese Corporation's latest filing, and let me tell you, it looks like they're rearranging the deck chairs on their credit facilities. Stick around to decode what that means for you. And if you enjoy getting these crucial financial insights without all the corporate jargon, make sure you're subscribed and join our Discord community for more. Alright, so Celanese Corporation dropped this Form 8K right on August 11th, 2025. Think of an 8K as a company's way of telling the world about any really big, important stuff that's happening outside of their regular financial updates. It's like a breaking news report for investors. The main event here seems to be all about their borrowing agreements. They've entered into a new credit agreement, which they're calling the revolving credit agreement. This is basically a flexible line of credit that companies can draw from, pay back, and then borrow again. It's like a credit card, but for a massive corporation. This new agreement replaces their old one from March 18th, 2022, and they officially shut down the old one on the same day this new one kicked in. This new revolving credit facility is a pretty hefty $1.75 billion. That's a significant amount of money they can potentially borrow. It's available in US dollars and other currencies, and a chunk of it, $250 million, can be used for issuing letters of credit. Letters of credit are like a bank guarantee that assures a seller that the buyer can pay. So this facility is a big deal for their day-to-day operations and flexibility. Now let's talk about the cost of this money. Borrowing money isn't free, and companies have to pay interest. The rate they pay depends on what kind of borrowing it is, like whether it's tied to SOFR, which is a common benchmark interest rate, or a base rate. On top of that, the interest rate also has a margin, which is an extra percentage added on. This margin can range from 1.0% to a lower 0% to a lower 0.00 ABRA base rate. On top of that, the interest rate also has a margin, which is an extra percentage added on. This margin can range from 1.000% to a lower, which is a common benchmark interest rate or a base rate. Even if they don't actually borrow all of that $1.75 billion, they still have to pay a fee just to have the loan available. This is called a commitment fee, and it ranges from 0.09% to 0.35%. Think of it as paying a fee to keep that credit card limit available. It's a small price to pay for having that financial firepower ready to go when needed. Now, with all this money comes responsibility. The agreement has what are called covenants. These are rules that Celanese has to follow to keep the lenders happy. Two big ones are the leverage ratio, which basically measures how much debt they have compared to their earnings, and the fixed charge coverage ratio, which shows how easily they can pay their regular bills and debt obligations. And here's a really interesting part for shareholders. These covenants can limit how much the company can pay out in dividends to its investors. Specifically, they can't just increase their dividend willy-nilly until they hit certain financial targets, like improving that leverage ratio. This tells us the company is prioritizing strengthening its financial position before rewarding shareholders with bigger payouts. It's a sign of responsible financial management, but it might mean slower dividend growth in the short term. Of course, there are also consequences if they break these rules. If they default on this agreement, meaning they fail to meet the terms, their entire debt could be called in much sooner. They list things like not paying on time, not meeting those financial ratios, or other standard defaults. This is pretty standard stuff in big loan agreements, but it underlines the importance of them staying on top of their finances. On the same day, August 11th, 2025, they also made changes to another big loan agreement, a term loan credit agreement. This one was originally set up back in March 2022. They've made a sixth amendment to it, which means they've made changes for the sixth time. Similar to the revolving credit, this amendment also adds a requirement to maintain a specific fixed charge coverage ratio. They're also putting in limits on dividend increases until they reach a certain leverage ratio, which is the same theme we saw in the revolving credit agreement. It shows consistency in their financial strategy. These amendments are all about fine-tuning their existing debt structure to be more robust. Because they entered into this new revolving credit agreement, the old one had to be terminated. This filing just confirms that step. It's a procedural thing to make sure everything is properly logged with the SEC. This section just points back to the information about the new credit agreements again. It's essentially saying that yes, the company has taken on new financial obligations, and the details of those are in the first item we discussed. Now, we're not going to go through every single page of these agreements, but the filing notes that the full details of the revolving credit agreement are available as Exhibit 10 Byte 1. This is where you'd find all the fine print, all the legal language that defines exactly how this $175 billion facility works. Similarly, the specifics of the changes made to the term loan credit agreement are laid out in Exhibit 10.2. These are the actual legal documents governing the company's borrowing. An interesting little note at the end of the exhibit section is that Celanese has omitted some schedules and attachments from these agreements. They say they'll provide these to the SEC if they're asked. This is pretty common. They don't have to file every single piece of paper associated with a massive deal, especially if it's highly detailed or proprietary. And finally, the report is signed off by Ashley B. Duffy, an important figure there as Senior Vice President, General Counsel, and Corporate Secretary. This just signifies that the company has officially filed this report and is taking responsibility for its contents. So what's the big picture here? Celanese Corporation is essentially refinancing and restructuring some of its major borrowing arrangements. They're taking on a new large revolving credit facility and amending an existing term loan. The key takeaways are the significant amount of credit available, the clear focus on maintaining strong financial ratios, even if it means slower dividend growth, and the commitment to responsible debt management. This suggests they're positioning themselves for stability and perhaps future growth, making sure their financial house is in order before they take on bigger projects or the company faces economic headwinds. It's a sign of a mature company focused on long-term health rather than short-term flashy wins. While this filing doesn't contain direct financial performance numbers like revenue or profit, it shows how the company is managing its financial backbone, which is crucial for everything else it does. What do you think about Celanese's financial maneuvering? Does this make you more or less confident in the company? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown useful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more corporate insights. And don't forget to check out our Discord channel linked in the description for more in-depth discussions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.